I got a kind of interesting curb find pull. It's big trash day pickup today, and I always go, trash hunting. Well, found this bike for one thing, and this was a completely different house. But typically, most of the crap you find, maybe it's like an old broken TV or an old mattress or, just random garbage. Or even, again, I usually pick up crap, but I don't film it. Not too long ago, I got an old Sanyo TV, little flat screen LCD, and I've gotten a couple computers from the curb and things like that. But this is the more interesting haul that I've had in a long time. And I figured it would be something worth filming just to share with the internet, even though they probably don't care. But I haven't found any old things like this in a long time, and this just takes me back to being a little kid, like going to Goodwill with my dad, and even just the stuff we had in our garage, old boom boxes and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I got this really old bike. It's a paint and tire or something. You can see it's gum wall tires, but the gum wall's rotted off, so put air in these, they'll probably just blow the inner tube, because I'm sure the tire will just come apart. So it's going to need tires, seat covers all loose, which I don't like. Maybe it's factory though. Problem is, I don't need this. This is probably going to end up getting pitched, as much as I hate to say it. But wow, I mean, she's been sitting for a long time. So much dust on it. It's a cadenza Fui. I don't know why that one I is longer than that, but it's got dots on the top, so it's an I, not an L. Fui. Just says on the other side as well, yeah. A spot for a water bottle mount or something there. Handlebar grips are all, well, trashed and kind of disintegrated looking, and it's got Shimano shifters, but this side is broken, or at least somehow this thing detaches, maybe. I don't know. It's probably busted off. Either way, we're missing the shifter. Problem is, I don't have the heart to kind of let this kind of crap get pitched, because like a newer bike, well, that bike right there was that was a pretty recent curb find. I just like riding it around, a little 20-inch BMX style thing. But I'm just saying, I haven't had an interesting curb pull like this in a long time. So anyway, besides the very worthless and stupid bike that's probably just a crappy old Japanese bike, I'll Google it. I love it. I really do, and I have a really hard time letting crap go, but the garage is full. We have no room for any more garbage here, and there's really no purpose in saving this crappy Japanese bike, because not too long ago, at the same time we got that bike, we got an old racing bike from the curb. But anyway, I'm just saying, this is the coolest and oldest find I've had in a long time, just because of the 80s, 90s aspect. Maybe this is 70s, I don't even know. But just saying, retro finds, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, bike looks kind of decent. Brakes work. It's even got good pads on there. Look at those. Some meaty brake pads. Anyway, over here, this was in a pile all at the same house. This was not in that pile, but this was at the same house. Or not the same house. This was all at the same house, this stuff. So, first up, we got this old camcorder, or recorder camera thing, with I think it's a Video 8. Yep, Video 8. I really didn't even look at it yet. I just set it all out here because it was really dark out when I went and scooped it up, and I just tossed it in the garage and went in for bed. But pull the lens cap off, wonder how I'm sure it looks fine, but oh yeah, wow. I haven't had one of these cameras in a long time. Just reminds me of filming random garbage when we were little kids, being stupid. My dad would let us use his camera, an old VHS camera. At one point we had a RCA camera. It was like an actual VHS, giant VHS camera. We'll be out in just a second. Gotta wait a minute. But I will show you really quickly. Here's the racing bike we got. A Trek Antelope. And my dad was the one, as soon as he saw it, he said, get that. He said, those are not cheap bikes. And so maybe they're not. He said it was a racing bike. Or at least, you know, it's kind of known for being expensive. And it does look pretty expensive. It rides nice. I'm just not a huge fan of a racing bike. I'm sorry. I just enjoy cruising. And what's out here, while it is a multi-speed thingy, oh yeah, that's a curb find as well. Probably about 6 months, no, we're talking more like 9 months ago. Got this Snapper rider from the curb, and it runs. We did a little bit of work to it, but anyway, that's a different story. And yes, that is a curb find as well. But yeah, Sony video camera. Uh-oh. As I say, the strap should be complete. Well, it looks like a mice took care of that one. It's the original Sony strap, too. Look at that. Sony Handycam. Well, it was. Well, that's no good anymore. In fact, this thing's truly garbage, but I just thought it was kind of cool, so I grabbed it. But it should have a foam cover, which you can kind of see what remains of it, just disintegrated away. Here's our problem. You can see the point of entry. I probably shouldn't even touch that. Oh my God, it's probably covered in rat piss and shit. This thing is gross. Gross. Oh my God. Oh dude, they ate into half the bag. And this thing here is a clip-on light for your top, just an accessory. There should be a mount for it on the top of the camera. Yep, right there. And you can slide your light on. Maybe. I'll go ahead and put it on faster. And then you just put that screw down on it and it will wrench it in there so it won't fall off. It's probably got batteries in it. Battery pack. Oh my God. Anyway, this thing is of absolutely zero use to me. Really. It's just kind of a neat memory at this point. I mean, honestly, clean it up and just rip the strap off and throw it in the garbage. Same with the bag. A couple more accessories in that side pocket, which I looked at earlier. You should have seen my face when I found this shit at the curb. I was way too excited for this crap. Whoa. Got a different country converter there, see? UK maybe? I don't even know. Not here, obviously. And then you convert it to your US standard plug. Okay. I don't think that's supposed to be in here, but then again, they probably took it with them when they traveled, you know? Because that's what you do. Got a massive play button and a massive stop button. Data screen. Ready to see some old batteries? Oh, 2011. Well, that's actually not that old. I was expecting older. But then again, the expiration date's usually like 5 years before. Or 5 years later, I mean. Ew, it's wet in there. What the? It's probably fucking mouse piss. Got a battery here. It's in a plastic case. I guess you're supposed to take it out of there. I don't know. Carry case. Ew. Yeah, it's all wet inside there and got a hair on it. Ew. This bag stinks, as you could imagine. I'm typically not scared to touch it, but this is rather gross and it reeks of piss. What the hell is that? Anyway. Yeah, camera's pretty cool. Let's move on to the cooler things, though. Oh, even ate part of the zipper. Well, anyway. Sorry, Sony camera. I think this is the end of the road for you. But you were a good memory, seriously. Took me back to my childhood for a little bit. Next up, the Sony radio. This one is probably more 90s than anything. It's kind of got that more rounded look. And who could forget the Sony Mega Bass? That's another thing in my childhood. We used to have one of these. Not the same one. It was a little bit bigger and probably the more expensive model. But yeah, we used to have one of these guys with the double tape deck on it. Sony Mega Bass. It had the CD player, and yeah, but it was more boxy. Anyway, the one that we actually had still exists. It's just sitting at my brother's house, though, in the basement. But it still exists. It's not in good shape, but yeah. Sony Mega Bass. Who could forget the Mega Bass when they were always bragging about their Mega Bass? Anyway, this one is, I mean, seen better days. Just put it that way. Oh my God. Yeah, it's stuck. We're gonna have to get that crap out of there first, and it might do something. I was just gonna see if the door would open. If I hold down the eject button, it might. No, because the play button's out, so it's not gonna let me. Ah, damn. You can hear it release, but yeah, it's not returning because there's too much crap in the way. Anyway, we'll clean that later. Eject. Oh, yep. Oh, wow, it's actually pretty clean in there. A little bit of spider webbing and stuff. The head looks, I mean, a little bit of dirt on there, but the head itself looks to be decent. A little bit of rubbing alcohol or something would probably clean that up. As long as the belts and stuff are still good, it might actually still work. Yeah, I mean, the mechanism's at least lifting. Doesn't mean anything. It's engaged, so it might. Anyway, this is just kind of your standard crappy old radio, but either way, I'm in love. Now, CD door, I don't know how to open it. I thought you just push. It says push here. Push to open. Push open. The one that we had, you just push it and it would pop up. But this one won't. Maybe it's power release. I doubt it. No. It says push, but it won't go down and snap open. I can't encourage it, try to help the hinge or whatever. Anyway, CD, I don't see anything through there. It's supposed to be transparent, but I don't think there's a CD in there. But again, I can't get the door open. Got some vegetation. I think what really happened was it was probably sitting in the backyard for a little bit. So it looks like to me. Unfortunately, this one's full of ants, this radio up on top. And yeah, it needs to be deep cleaned before you even try it. So this one might be another video. The lower one, though, is in really good shape, and I think we'll probably end up plugging that in. So let's put this piece of junk aside and move on to the one that's actually the reason why I even grabbed any of this crap. This is the one I fell in love with when I saw it, because it was sitting there first, and it caught my eye when I was going by. Oh yeah, this is your typical boxy 1980s radio. Look at that. Look at that. Got that typical silver color going on with it. Tape counter. Look at the controls. Graphic equalizer. I think the other one had that too, but this one's just cooler. I don't care what you say. This one is so much cooler. Look at that classic Sanyo logo. Just your typical old boxy boombox. Got a really clicky power switch. It's stuck. There we go. It needs to be taken apart and cleaned, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's clicky. Those mechanical switches just feel great. Freaking, give me a second, I'm nerding out over here. I haven't had a tape player in years, man. I used to have a tape player when I was like 12. It was my dad's. I'd listen to it all the time. Because I didn't have a phone yet, so I was always using it. And then I ended up getting an old Sony Walkman at one point that was all original with the headphones and everything, and it was mint. And I think it got donated, unfortunately, but anyway. I think that one over there is the recorder head, and then that right there is just the play head in the middle. I could be wrong. But, I mean, it looks like it's in good shape besides having some dirt on it. Now, this radio here is the one that's in better shape, and I'm glad because this one is neat. This one's a lot cooler than that other one. That other one's neat, but this one is by far the star of the show. This one's a lot heavier as well. And the bottom is actually metal on this one. Speakers look like they're in good shape too, from what I could see shining a flashlight in there. They don't look like they're rotted out or anything. Looks like the surrounds and everything are in good shape. Doesn't mean anything. They're probably starting to become unglued. Oh my gosh, this one is heavy. Considering what this is, I did not expect this to weigh this much. But see, metal base. Speaker bottoms are plastic, but yeah, it's got rubber feet going all the way across it. There's battery doors popping off at the bottom. We'll have to take that off and see if there's any batteries in there, because the one thing I did notice was DC plugged deck. Actually, that doesn't mean anything. That's just power from the top unit to the bottom, I'm thinking. If you unplug that, it disables the power to the lower section. I was thinking that was like a plug to disable your voltage coming from the wall, and I still could be wrong. Doesn't that just remind you of like an NES for some reason? The graded portion with that, I don't know, it just reminds me of a Nintendo NES with that great style looking thing on there. But yeah, take that battery door off and take a look in there. Pretty cool. Record, play. Yeah, it's all separate plugins. And then there's your speakers, which this is what our old 8-track radio has, the Sound Design 8-track that we have in the house. Just your standard RCA style, or AV style plug per speaker. So that's pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, the antenna is chewed off at the top, but that's very typical of this era. So at least most of the boom boxes I've seen, the antenna's always like broken at the top for whatever reason. The one we had, the beat up crappy Sony we had when I was little, and still have, again, it's at my brother's, the antenna's ripped off of it as well. It's missing a couple pieces of it, and it's all chewed at the top. And my dad had a piece of copper jammed down in it just so it would actually stick up far enough to get good reception. But yeah, it used to be the garage radio, and we used to have a whole bunch of boom boxes when I was little, but they all got pitched and stuff throughout the years. Really, the only one that remains, I think, is that Sony at this point, which it still worked. It's just sitting on the shelf because nobody uses it, collecting dust. I mean, it's covered in dust. I saw it. It even had a spider web on the front of it last time I saw it. But anyway, yeah, it worked. The CD player was dead, and same with the tape deck, but you could probably be cleaned up and replace the belts and it might actually work. But yeah, I'm just saying that Sony from my childhood, the AM, FM, and crap still works, and the speakers sound great. So they weren't lying about the Sony Mega Bass. It's a good sounding radio. And I'm sure this one sounds pretty cool too. We got to get a cord and plug that guy in. I am seriously dying over here, but I don't want to get the wrong cord. Problem is, I don't even know where to start looking for a cord. Now I got to think to myself, what would I have that I could rob a cord from? Actually, the closest thing we have to a boombox is that thing, which is just your typical home radio of the early thousands and stuff, late 90s, early thousands. I prefer a boombox just because of the size, and typically they sound pretty good too. So, as for power cord, again, there's no power cord in there, and there's no power cord here, and even the Sony, no power cord. I'm not sure why they're all missing power cord. Actually, the Sony might be the winner for later on down the road. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'll probably end up stealing the antenna off this one just because, if it fits, no guarantee. Because honestly, while this radio is in pretty gross shape right now and the speaker has a dent, I can take that cover off and push this back out, make it look nice and clean. And again, besides being really dirty right now, the plastic's in really good shape. It's not beat up, and typically they're all just destroyed looking whenever I find them at Goodwill and stuff. They're always just trashed. But again, besides being super gross, this thing actually looks like it's in really good condition, honestly. So I'll have to make a video cleaning it up. Same with this one. This one will clean up better, I think. And this is by far, again, the star of the show. That thing is so cool. I can't even explain why. I love everything about this. Everything about this is just so freaking cool. 2-band stereo, tuner amplifier. Got the tweeters at the top. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Man, I gotta get a power cord for that. Actually, it's done charging. Unplug the scooter. I don't want to drop the charger transformer here. Let me just... Could I use that? This one's really short though. Ow. Problem is I don't know if it's polarized or not. It doesn't look like it. It's just one big open square. I don't think this is gonna work. Is it even wide enough? Actually, this looks like it might be wider. I think this is wider than what that is. And I don't want to break it. I don't want to break the radio. Especially if I jam this in there, because I don't want to bend those prongs. But here, let's say it's the same and I take it apart and, you know, hook up a plug to it. Because I might actually do that. It'd be a good idea to take it apart before I try to turn it on anyway. And if I take it apart and, you know, make sure everything's clean, and then I, you know, take this plug here. If I can't find a cord, I can just desolder this and then, you know, hook up an actual cord to the back of this radio and a fixed cord. I'd be fine with that. Preferably, I'd like to use that, but I don't have a cord, and that's the problem. I don't even know where I'd find one at this point. Probably a random bin of cords at Goodwill might have one, but I don't know anymore. Actually, I could probably rob it from my dad's Sony radio. So again, not this one, but we have one that's similar. What's the cord look like on the back? That's the real question, because I know the one that my dad had still has the cord on it. Where's the plug? There it is. I mean, it's different. It is different. And I would have to highly imagine that it's polarized. It's radio. See, this one's polarized. Look at the top. Look at the way it's rounded. Look at the bottom and how it's not rounded. It's more squared off. So that's polarized. But that one there, I would have to imagine it is, because it's got that notch right there in the middle. So it'd only plug in one way because the other side of the plug would be flat across and would not plug in over top of that. So it probably is polarized. It has to be polarized. But again, if I take it apart, it should have a positive and negative on whatever circuit board that that's soldered to. At least it should. And again, I actually have an old cord over here that I could try. What about you? Can you plug into the Sony? It does plug into the Sony, you see that? But the problem is I don't know which way is what, and I don't want to plug this in and end up short-circuiting. Do you list positive and negative? Oh, there's a date on it. March of 95. Model number. Mix mic, what's that? I would assume just your standard microphone. AC. I don't know which side's positive and negative. I'm sure a quick Google might tell me. And then I could put, this side's not polarized either though. Yeah, I better wait. I don't want to short circuit that. I think we actually have a cord somewhere that would work on this guy. But that one there, unfortunately, I don't have a cord. So I think I'm gonna have to rig a cord up to it. So that'll have to be a later video. And I don't want to butcher it. That's a radio that I do not want to mess with. I don't want to butcher that one either. I'm just saying, I gotta find a cord. Well, we do have a cord in my pile of garbage. I just saved this one not terribly long ago. Uh-oh. We're tangled. Oh no. Oh no. Here's our thing. Now, of course, we don't have a ground on this guy, or that one over there, I mean. But this thing here, got a ground. We don't have to use that, though. There's your little plug, which, hell, we could even just use that. Actually, what's that look like? Nothing we could use here. But I could actually just leave that on the back of the radio, if you know what I mean. So this, this guy here, I can cut those fuses off and I can just solder this to the board, and somehow I could have fixed this right inside there, and I could make it so that this guy here unplugs, and then of course just cut our ground off and put some heat shrink around it so it just has a nice flush end like this, and you plug it in. And yeah, I don't know yet. I would like to just find a similar cord that I can just use on it, so I don't have to go track down a cord or rig a cord into it. But I at least might take it apart and temporarily rig in that cord that I have there. So probably not, affix it, but tie the cord in a knot so it doesn't get yanked out of the radio or something, or hurt the radio if it accidentally gets, bumped or pulled. Either way, sorry I can't turn it on for the video, but that thing is cool. I don't care if you don't think so. That thing is cool. That thing is cool. I wish there was a date code, but I didn't see one. Actually, I didn't look. Made in Japan. Serial number. Another serial number. Oh, I think these pieces are detached from each other. They are. That's why it has that separate DC thing. They're two separate units stacked inside of there. That's pretty neat. It's actually pretty weird and cool. I've never seen that before. Beat cancel. I don't know what that is. No, I don't see a date on her, unfortunately. So we don't know how old she is. I don't know what that is. Some little dummy plate there. Anyway, thanks for watching.